Coming up on Mountain News this morning, nerves are high in our nation's capital after a White House official tested positive for COVID-19. And back here in Kentucky, many businesses will be opening their doors to the public again for the first time in weeks. We talk with one car dealership about how that will be done. And when you think about rescue animals, many picture dogs or cats, but what about squirrels or deer? One rescue in Perry County does just that.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Lacey Roberts. Thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning. Today is Monday, May 11th, and it was feeling pretty good outside this weekend. It was kind of cold, but yesterday warmed up. Let's bring in Brandon Robinson for a look at what we can expect for the rest of this week. Brandon?
Well, it's a back and forth forecast, Lacey, as we see more rain chances overnight, and then they've moved out. Clearing skies by this morning, but more clouds later today. Temperatures will be in the 50s again. We have a chance to tie or break a minimum low temperature or minimum high temperature today. So we're going to continue to watch that. And as we see, the clouds are out of here for the moment, but the temperatures continue to fall. Let's take a look at those this morning, and you'll see they're in the 30s and 40s across the area there. Not sure where that London sensor is going up. We'll fix that here in just a second. 37 in Wise and Somerset, 39 in Williamsburg, 44 Middlesboro, 43 Jackson Hazard, and 45 in Prestonsburg. It's 38 here, actually 37 here at the house. I had to go run outside and cover up my garden out there this morning at about 4 o'clock. So again, it's just a little bit chilly in some locations, and the wind will make it feel even colder than what the air temperature is this morning. So a normal day for the most part with temperatures, but taking a little extra there just because it's a Monday morning once again as we head back into our routine, especially if those are having to work this morning. Out the door forecast, I think we'll see some sunshine early, but it'll be a mix of sun and clouds, maybe more clouds as we head deeper in the morning and into the afternoon. And temperatures only get to right around 54 today if we're lucky. I'll have the extended forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. Vice President Mike Pence has tested negative for the coronavirus after his press secretary contracted the virus. Kate Miller is at least the second person around the administration to test positive, and it's caused a shakeup at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. At least 3 top health officials are now self-quarantining as a precaution. Meanwhile, the model administration increased its projected death toll yesterday after seeing more people moving around, settling on a prediction of 137,000 deaths by August 4th. White House officials say that they are monitoring states as they reopen to make sure it is being done safely. And all witnesses for Tuesday's Senate Health Committee will now testify remotely. 2 of them and the committee chair are in quarantine after being exposed to the coronavirus. Committee Chair Senate Lamar Alexander announced the change Sunday night. It affects the Assistant Health and Human Services Secretary and Dr. Anthony Fauci. The other 2 witnesses were already scheduled to join by video conference. Their CDC head Dr. Robert Redfield and Drug and Food Administration Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn. Fauci, Redfield, and Hahn were all exposed to coronavirus at the White House. And here in Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear did not give a briefing last night because of Mother's Day. That means that as of this morning, the most recent numbers for COVID-19 cases here in Kentucky shows us that at least 6,400 Kentuckians have contracted the novel coronavirus. At least 300 people have now died due to complications from the virus, and at least 2,300 people have recovered from the coronavirus statewide. And today is a big day in Governor Beshear's Healthy at Work initiative, as we see changes today as part of phase 1. One of those changes is that Kentuckians are now required to wear a face mask when in public. Also beginning today, manufacturing can reopen along with pet grooming and horse racing, though with no fans. Phase 1 continues on May 20th when retail stores will be able to reopen. In-person church services were initially in this phase as well, but began hosting services yesterday after a federal judge struck down the state's ban on those services. This phase ends on May 25th when salons and other similar services can reopen. And of course, all of these moves are to reopen are made under the requirement that businesses follow precautions for proper sanitization and social distancing guidelines. Now, if you want to learn more about Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the Governor's Healthy at Work initiative, you can find that on our website at WYMT.com. And car dealerships across the state will open their doors to foot traffic today, but things will look a little different. Walters Mazda Mitsubishi in Pike County has equipped its showroom with shielded desks and will require customers to practice social distancing. Vehicles will be sanitized between customers, and employees will no longer accompany drivers during a test drive. Even bringing back employees is a process.
And then we're also just phasing employees back for not only the health of the public, but also the health of the employees too, by limiting the number that are here working.
Walters says the employees are ready to get back to work, and some of them will not have to wait long. The showroom will reopen today at 9 a.m. And Mountain View Wildlife Rehabilitation, it cares for abandoned and murdered injured wildlife. They specifically care for mammals, and that includes anything from possums to deer to even squirrels. They feed and nurture the animals for nearly 180 days until they are released back into the wild. Beth Vaughn, owner of Rehabilitation Facility, says that they can give advice to people who have questions about wildlife that they come in contact with.
We can talk them through the scenario. They may not know behavior of the wild animal. We can help them to determine if, in fact, it does need intervention and to be brought in.
Vaughn has a permit through the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife to do this type of work. You can also help to rehabilitate these animals. We have more on how to do that on our website at WYMT.com. Well, thank you for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up, the weather is getting beautiful for enjoying the great outdoors, but what is outside can also come in. And that's what one family in Tennessee learned after a close encounter with Mother Nature.
Well, the forecast will start off this week just a touch on the dreary side, but we have some warmth on the way. We'll talk about when in about 3 minutes.